How do you get over grief, and how do you become comfortable by yourself? This has been something I've been kind of thinking about a lot recently. I went through a really horrible breakup about a month and a half ago, and coming out of it, um, I've been dealing a lot with kind of, well, the very obvious, um, the kind of breakup blues of just, you know, missing them, being angry at them, so on and so forth, being depressed, feeling regretful. Um, and then slowly, in my current state, slowly kind of coming to an acceptance of it. Or I feel an acceptance of it, and I'm slowly getting rid of the excess feelings that I had from the relationship. Not to dwell on it, because I don't really want to talk about the nature or like the all the stuff that happened in it in this, because this is more about the idea of getting over it, which is that for me the breakup came at like this. Um, it just came out of nowhere from my perspective, and it felt like the most, in retrospect, probably the most obvious breakup possible. There was a lot of very, very obvious signs, I think, in retrospect, that things were not going the way I thought they were. But I did not see them. I just like fucking didn't no didn't see nothing until it hit me. And then in that kind of that state of kind of shock, in that state of kind of grief, I really started thinking about, um, I guess, like the nature of my life in this kind of post relationship world. When you're in a relationship and you're envisioning it in a kind of long term sense, you're not really thinking about the possibility of a future where you're not together. So when the breakup hits you, you're like, what the fuck even is my life anymore? What the fuck is my future? What's happening? Who am I? But I think like for me, a lot of it kind of came to realizing that that future that I thought was being built with this woman was probably not for the best. But outside of that, the kind of the real pain I feel like when you come out of a relationship is, and I don't think you see many people talk about it, or at least, I mean, I don't know, I don't watch that many of these types of videos, but like the idea that when you're in a relationship, you have this constant sense of social interaction that is available for anything really. Like any issues, you can go to your significant other and you can talk to them. If you just want to chat, you can do it. That's like the deal. You want to talk to each other, um, and like your significant other should not be avoiding you. Really, I mean that's I feel like without saying, but like when you're in a relationship and it's going well, the positives, or one of the big positives, is that you have someone you're constantly talking to, or you are able to communicate with. You've got a constant, like, permanent social outlet, essentially, for anything. Um, and when you get out of the relationship, I feel like it's almost like how it felt to me in the kind of like, when I joked to my friends about it being like, was it's almost kind of um, like trying to wean off a drug in a sense, or like drug withdrawals. Fuck, I'm not gonna say that. Withdrawals, um, where it's kind of almost like you've had this thing that's so good for so long, and then it's like in a flash, it's just like I can't click my fingers. In a flash, it's gone, and you are now just kind of like, well, fuck. How the fuck do I get out of this? And I think that's kind of the point of this video, kind of the point of this rumination almost. I went into this with no script, and there's no end goal here. This is just my general thoughts in my current emotional state, which is how does one come to accept being alone, and not just in a kind of like, not in the way of you'll never date again, or in the way of like you have no social interaction at all, but how does one come to accept, or not accept, how does one come to be comfortable with and happy even in solitude? And this was something I found very, very hard. I'm a person who very much needs a lot of social interaction, I feel. I'm a guy who just kind of needs a social outlet. And my ex, I think she might be about the same. We spoke all the time, like constantly, um, like all the time. Um, but that slowly weaned off towards the end, and in turn, I also talk to like a bunch of my mates all the time. I have a couple people I like can talk to a lot, but even then, it's still kind of like, especially when you come out of the relationship, and in my case, when you come out of my relationship, for me, um, even the people you can talk to a lot, it's like you're not getting that same level. You're not getting the same high that you were getting with the other relationship. But in a way, I feel like the thing you have to do, and at least I'm slowly getting there, is coming to terms with just being alone. And I don't know if I have necessarily any like, I don't have a thing. I don't have like a list of like you got to do the things and that's it. Then you're healed. Like I'm not healed of this yet. It's an evolving process that you just kind of work your way through. But I think for me personally, as a person who has a very 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 talkative brain, um, kind of like I use the term mindfulness almost, just you know, slowing down. I walk really fast. I'm like a speed walker. Um, and like everyone I walk with hates it because I just speed on ahead, and it's just what I've always done. I get everywhere as quick as possible. Um, but I've started just walking slowly, and I've started kind of just allowing myself to live more in the moment. Each little second, it's like it's like when you think about it, in a morbid sense, because here it is. We're all gonna die. Unfortunately, at some point, the train does get to the last station. It's always moving, it never stops. And when you are constantly rushing yourself towards it, in a sense, you're never allowing yourself to just look out the window or just, I don't know, have a sit down. Your brain is always moving, and you're always wondering that you need the next thing, or you need the whatever, you know. Um, it's like to be able to accept the solitude of coming out of a relationship like that, or any relationship. I'm using romance as an example, but it could be anything. In my case, I also had a massive falling out with my best friend. Like, I guess we haven't spoken this year at all. We spoke a bit last year, but really the falling out happened a while ago. It doesn't matter. But like I had the same grief. It's almost like someone dying. It's kind of what a relationship ending kind of feels like. It's almost like they died. The feeling is kind of the same, where it's like, especially if you've reached the stage where you get that they're not coming back, or like you don't want them back. It's a very similar kind of feeling. And I think the thing with that is it's kind of just you have to, and it's going to sound silly, you have to kind of focus a lot more on your own life and your own goals and your own pursuits. And I found like the toughest thing for me to do was I was always, for both, say, the friendship I mentioned and also the relationship I just got out of, I was always kind of on the edge of like, I don't, like after it fell apart, I don't want to talk to you. I don't really like you that much. Like, you've hurt me in a really extreme way, for reasons that are like incomprehensible to me. And the bits I do understand seem kind of like childish, um, for the acts. But like, I think the thing coming out of that is you, even in that state, you're still kind of thinking a lot about the good times, and you're thinking a lot, as I mentioned before. It's kind of like coming off a drug. You're thinking a lot of like that social interaction. The validation you get from the person who loves you, saying you look good, calling you funny, being like, oh my god, whatever, fucking, you love Morrowind, that's cool. Um, like the coming out of that, it's really odd where you're like you want it back, even if it sucks. even if it was shit, um, you want it back because you're really picturing the good shit, um, and you might even be justifying it to yourself. Where you're like, um, no, oh, like we can work it out. It can change. I can learn to accept the whatever, and you just have to not do that. The thing that was hitting me was that like I didn't block her, and like I was going to I was going to block her, but it like I saw she had unblocked me on Instagram. I was just like, I'm just gonna block this woman. I don't ever want to hear from her again anyway. But I saw she unblocked me, and I already was kind of struggling with the idea of, do I want to block you? So seeing that she had unblocked me like a couple weeks after we broke up kind of filled me with the sense of like, maybe there's a way this works. Maybe there's something that happens here. Like the little bit of cope. The little bit of cope, even though things are fucked, you're still thinking like, you can get back on the drug. You can figure even if it's harmful, you can figure it out somehow. You can say the right words. You'll be in the exact right situation. He's gonna say the thing you're imagining in your head, have the feelings you're imagining that they're feeling. Um, and like in my case, I was the one who got broken up with, so I was imagining a lot like, maybe she feels bad, maybe she's regretful, and it's like, especially when you're not communicating, you're jumping and you've got no contact. We'll get into from what happened, but for me later. But when you've got no contact, and you're still kind of really obsessed with this person, just because like obviously it's going to be very fresh in your mind, and you're still like, a part of you is still expecting that social interaction. Um, you will, oh my god, I'm kind of losing my train of thought here. You will jump on like every little bit you get from them, and you will, in a way, you'll kind of mythologize, I think, things in the past. You'll think about, especially if you don't really 100% know like what happened, why you got broken up with, you'll think about things that happened and you'll be like, oh, it was this. Oh, it was this. I bet XYZ was happening. Oh, if that was happening, then this must have also been happening, and so on and so forth. And you build a mythos of this person and the events that led up to this in your head. And especially when you get snippets from people, if you know people who still interact with them and they're like, oh, I was talking to so and so and they said XYZ, or oh, they posted this on their Instagram, or they're doing whatever, it's like you're getting a little bit of a hit, even if you're not talking to them. You're getting a little bit of a hit, and it's like coming off a drug, and it's like you just get a tiny bit, and you're like, ooh, I want the full thing again. I want the full. Put the fucking meth needle in my arm. Fuck it, give it to me. I miss it. I don't care if it's bad for me. I want it. I've done a little taste, a little drop of it. And you have to not do that. That's the thing that it really hit me. So to circle back around to what I was saying before, in my example, I was going to block her. I didn't. I noticed she had unblocked me, and eventually she messaged me. And at that point, I was very much kind of still still coming out of some very extreme emotions. As I said before, kind of like, or like when you come out of a relationship, you can jump between, depending on how it ended. In my case, my relationship ended really messily, very suddenly and very messily. I'm very very messy. Um, and you can jump between these emotions, where you jump between hate. You jump between, like, if 100 is pure anger and negative 100 is like pure sadness and pure regret, you can be jumping between that like every day, multiple times a day. You can be jumping between any number of this bullshit, and it's hell. It's not good. It's not healthy. I mean, you have to get it out of your system. Whatever emotions you're feeling in the moment, you just have to get them out. And but I realized at one point, I was talking to a really close friend of mine, And I was in that moment where I was at 100, and I in like a manic episode almost, I wrote this whole fucking response in my head where I was like, if she ever messages me, I'm gonna send her this. And it's like, it was the mental. It was insane. It was just a really, really stupid thing. It would have been like deranged. It would have been deranged. And my friend told me, he was like, I pray to God that you two never talk, because that's bad, bro. You need to be consciously aware of how you're feeling in the moment. You need to be aware that not that your emotions are invalid. I feel like you're allowed to feel the anger, you're allowed to feel the sadness in the moment. Um, but you got to be aware that you are doing that. You're not a logical actor in this moment. You're not a logical actor when you're feeling grief. You're not a logical actor when you're feeling anger. You are an emotional actor, and your actions are built on those emotions, whatever they are. It could be good actions, but it could be bad, and you just have to be aware of where what you're doing is coming from. And so in the case of like coming out of that, it hit me, and I was just like, fuck. Yeah, I just gotta like be conscious and kind of understand that, yeah, this is over. I can feel what I feel about this woman, but I don't want to like act maliciously, because it's just not, even if it's like you can feel justified in it, it's just like, why? There's just no point. It's like, even if it's over, like, you're not going to win the breakup. There's no brownie points for making them feel bad outside of just like vindication, or like vindictiveness, or like spitefulness, which is nice. It's fun to be spiteful. It's fun to be just like fucking, someone hurts you, it's fun to hurt them back. But it's, I don't know, I guess in my case, it just doesn't feel like worth it. It's just petty, I guess. I mean, it depends what they've done, maybe. I don't know. My ex didn't like beat me, but she was kind of doing not great stuff. But even then, I don't want to like, I don't know. I don't really have anything against you at this point. You're out of my life. And yeah, so to fucking actually circle back around, she messages me, and it's like a hit. It's like this hit of oh my god, we're talking again. Shit, this is awesome. Maybe something could happen. But I kind of just realized in the moment, I'm like, Jonathan, you need to fucking lock in. You need to tell this woman that, like, there's gonna be nothing. You don't want to hear from her. You don't want to be her friend. That would suck. That would suck more than just never talking to her again. And like, you really just don't want this person in your life, even if it's like you could be chill. You just don't want your ex in your life, really. I feel, in my case, and I feel like that in a lot of cases, it's just, especially if you're still pining for them to some degree, it's like, you don't want that. You don't want, and this is kind of going to be the main thesis of all this when I really get to the meat of my point, which is, you don't want anything that gives you a semblance of wanting to go back to that, and removing you from the kind of mental mission, the mental effort, the healing process of accepting and coming to terms with and being happy in as you know, you don't need another person. You can be happy as you, and you will meet someone else. We'll get back, like, we'll get to something else like that. But yeah, and I just told her that, and like, that was kind of it. I was like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Oh, I think this is going on too long or something, but it doesn't matter. And I kept going, and then, but the thing that came out of that is, in the moment, I thought, this is fine. This was how I wish the relationship ended. I'm glad we spoke. But it's like, the emotions I was feeling, I was coming to the sense of acceptance. I was still emotionally distraught about it all, and I was still thinking about it a lot. But, I was coming out of it. And her messaging me, and I think in probably almost everyone else's case, your ex just randomly messaging you is going to reset that shit. It almost felt like during the breakup again, but just politely. It's just like, you're just back at square one. Um, or at least like in my case, I wasn't pissed. Or well, I was still very pissed at points. But like you just start going back into it because now you're like you've got all these emotions going through your head. Whatever the fuck was said between you, good or bad, like that's just ringing through your head. You just don't want that. And I was jumping between these feelings again, right afterwards, and the 2 weeks preceding it, just wigging the fuck out about what is it to be like. Fuck. Are you gonna message me again? Will you message? Will you message me again? You know. Is there something that can work out here? Then thinking about all the shit that you're really pissed about as well. So you're jumping between this. It's like it's hell. It's just hell. And then she ended up messaging me again, like 2 weeks later or something, or like a week and a half, and I ended up replying again. I felt no inclination to message her. I was at least strong enough to not do that first. But I would always reply, I think, if she ever messaged me. So I replied this time again, politely about just dumb shit. And I think I even kind of pathetically snuck in a kind of like, oh, maybe we could be friends. Oh, maybe, what about in like a decade we have a crazy rebound, lol, lol. Just like, bah, what are you doing? What are you doing? What's happening here? Um, and like it hit me the day after that. She didn't reply to anything I said. And then I went to bed and I was just like pissed, thinking about like everything that happened in the relationship. And the next day I was just sitting and I was like, still hadn't replied to me. I was just thinking to myself, John, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you waiting for a reply? Like, do you want to talk to this woman? You should not want to talk to this woman. You don't really want to talk to this woman. Talking to this woman sucks. Like, she kind of sucks. Like, why do you want this? And that was the moment that it hit me, where it's like, if I don't do something to remove this drug, in a sense, from my life, I'm just gonna keep going back into this cycle of messaging her. She's gonna be messaging me, and it's just gonna extend the pain. It's gonna extend the heartbreak for just like far too fucking long than it should go for. And I think the thing that just hit me was like, I just need to block you and everything. So I was the one who was like, I just messaged her. I was just like, yeah, I've been thinking about it. I'm just gonna block you. I listed like kind of couple small stuff that she knew I was unhappy about. I was just kind of reiterating it, and I'd been polite the whole time, so I was just kind of like, I don't know. I'm just gonna tell you my real thoughts in a still kind of polite manner. But yeah, bye. I can't ever talk to you again. Blocked her of everything. Blocked her on, blocked her on Instagram. Blocked her on Discord. Blocked her on fucking apps I don't even use, or neither of us use. I blocked her on Snapchat. Blocked her on fucking TikTok. Blocked her on fucking, I don't know, WeChat. Doesn't matter. You block her on everything. Get rid of her number. I had a couple things that she still like gave me over the years, and a bunch of photos of her. Just got rid of the photos. I don't really have it in me to get rid of like some of the stuff she gave me. I got rid of a bunch, but like there are some things that are just in a box in like a place I'm just not gonna ever go, and I won't ever really access and I'll never see. Mementos for like this relationship that I did at one point like, and I think keeping some mementos is okay, but you need to remove keeping like a thing is okay, as long as you keep it out of sight until the emotional reaction you have towards it is gone. But you need to remove all access to the person. So the ideal is not to continue wanting this person. It's not to continue like thinking in your head that what if they message me, or fuck, I just thought of a crazy thing. I've got this perfect line in my head. What if I do that and I say this to them and then whatever? And like, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You know, that's the brass tacks of it. That sucks to hear. It's not going to happen. You just got to not even think of it as a fucking possibility. It's just not going to happen. And even if it does happen, if you get out of a relationship that ends badly, like, what the fuck do you think is going to happen, bro? Like, it's just going to end again. And it's like, especially in my case, I had a lot of my mates being like, really fucking hammering it in. Like, dude, this woman is bad for you. You know, you deserve better. Dude, fucking go live your life, dude. What do you, like, stop pining for this shit. Just stop talking about it. Just go. And um, I was thinking about it in the sense where it's like talking to one of my mates, and I was like, if I ever did get back with this chick, I think everyone I know would lose their respect for me, and I feel like that's the same case for everyone who's in this kind of situation where it's like, if everyone is telling you something is bad, and you still go ahead and do it, and then the obvious outcome happens, which is heartbreak again, because obviously that's just going to be the next outcome. If you return to a relationship that ended in failure with no real like possibility of change, it's just going to end again in the same way. And yeah, it's just like, what can people tell you? You know, you might get a lot of support beforehand, but then it's just like told you so. Dude, you knew this was going to be a bad idea. Um, so ideally, as I said before, in the main kind of thesis of this video, this has been a deranged rant. I didn't have a script for this. This is just my thoughts as they come out. The main kind of idea here is, how do you accept being alone? And I think the first step to that is removing the drug. You know, removing the access, removing the dealer. You know, removing the person you can get the thing from that's bad for you. You want to talk to the person, just can't do it. You just should not fucking do it. You need to block them on everything, and that's the first step. I would say that's the first step. Maybe you could say the first step is coming to the realization you want to block them, which is a kind of a hard step to get to. It took me like a month and a half maybe, to realize I wanted to block them. I knew earlier on I should have, but it was like I didn't want to block them. You know, I knew I should block them, but I didn't want to block them. Wanting to block them is the first step. Realizing, not just wanting it, but realizing you need to remove the access is the first step. And the second step is allowing yourself to exist as you. I think a lot of people kind of put themselves as, you're not even like a main character in a way. You're kind of an extension of another person. Your relationship is kind of your thing, or your relationship is an extension of your being. It kind of are in a way. Your significant other is almost like, well, they're your best friend, they're your lover. Who else are you having sex with? I guess. I mean, unless you're in a fucking polyamorous relationship or you're cheating, which you shouldn't do. Obviously, that's deranged. But like, oh, fucking what like this. I'm gonna cut this bit out. Fucking what? Where am I going with this? Yeah, okay, no. So, there is something more about coming to terms with your solitude, and it feels to me that what I ended up realizing I should do is I need to pretty much focus on shit that gets my mind off this, which is gonna sound kind of cringe, but it's kind of just like, you just need to do things. You can't be wallowing, you can't be on your phone, you can't be scrolling, you can't be looking at photos of them, you can't be fucking listening to music that reminds you about them. I mean, maybe if you want to, in a cathartic sense or in a therapeutic sense, if it helps you, but it really won't. You need to focus on things that is just anything else. You need to focus on you, man. Wherever the camera is, you. You need to focus on you. And the you is whatever like you want to do. In my case, like, I've just been playing piano. I write poetry. I journal a lot. Everyone should journal. You should fucking journal. It's just awesome. Journaling is just fun, and it's just therapeutic. You just get your thoughts out. I sew. I just started doing things. Started going out. I started looking at local things going on in my area, in the city, uh, and just kind of just doing shit. Messaging mates. Let's hang out. Messaging mates, bro. Let's meet up, play Warhammer. That's 6 hours gone. That's 6 hours you're not talking about. You're not thinking about a woman because you're thinking about how much fucking Imperial Guard you can throw at the fucking word bearers guy before um his Daemon Prince destroys your fucking Leman Russ or whatever. Like, it's you got to get your mind off all this shit, because at the end of the day, you just got to move on, and that sucks. But like, yeah, there's really nothing else in that. I don't think there's a magic. Like, there's not. This is the thing that will heal you. That just isn't it. The only person who can heal you is you. Like, and you might think that's unfortunate, but like, you are way stronger than you think you are. You are insanely strong. No one else is the architect of your life. You are the only person who decides what you do, good or bad. You know, anything. You are the person who feels your emotions. You're the person who sees with your eyes. You're the person who experiencing your life. No one else is experiencing your life. So you need to fucking experience it. That's the crux of this. That's kind of the becoming okay with yourself is the slow, and it's a process. You probably might not get to it straight away. I'm still getting there, you know. I'm like, as I said, I'm very like, this is still very recent in my life. This is a very, very recent fucking event. I'm still dealing with this shit, but I'm slowly getting there, you know. It's like day by day. You just take it day by day. Every single day is a new life, you know. You only live in the present, in the moment. The past is behind you. You just can't think about it. You can think about stuff where you're like, you can't think about stuff in that I should have done XYZ, because it's just happened. It's just happened. I shouldn't have done this. The relationship wouldn't end. The relationship, it's over. It's done. You just gotta go. There's just not it's like, that's harsh. It sucks. Yeah, it can suck, but it's like, that's life, man. That's just life. It's just you just gotta go. And you just gotta do shit. And it's like, in the moment, that can feel like shit. As I said before, it can feel harsh. It is harsh to get that realization. And as I said before, like the very morbid thing, you know, the train is always going. But that doesn't mean you have to rush towards the end. That doesn't mean there's like, you got to think about the time limit, really. It's like, you know, you just enjoy the daisies. Go for walks. Why do I pronounce it like that? Walks. Go for a walk. Read a book. Go to a class to learn how to crochet. You know, take horse riding lessons. Do whatever. Do anything that your mind wants, because focusing on the past, focusing on the grief, focusing on the loss of another person, in this sense, in a relationship sense, is a disservice to yourself, because you alone are all you really need. You know, you don't need anyone else. You might think you do. You might think that you are, you know, like, who am I without this person? Or I'm so weak without their support, or like, whatever. Any such thoughts, but you're stronger than you think you are. You are, you know, an amazing, beautiful, strong person. Every single fucking one of you on this planet, who isn't like I don't know, like an evil rapist or something. But like, yeah, every single person here is a person. Every single person is living their life, and no one needs anyone else. You don't need another person to be okay. You don't need another person to be happy. You just need to realize that you can become happy, or that not even you become happy, you are happy internally. You can accept that, I think. It's an acceptance of being alone, and that acceptance comes with it a kind of relief. When you're like, that's the term, there's the phrase that I've heard scouring the interwebs post my breakup, which I think is unironically, it's like a little cliche, but cliches are cliches for a reason, because they're fucking true or whatever half the time. But this one is don't go. Oh my god, don't go chasing butterflies. Build a garden, and they'll come to you. And even if they don't, you still got a fucking sick ass garden, dude. You've just got an amazing garden, and you'll be happy with that. You don't need the butterflies, you know. You don't need to go searching for the love of your life right after this, or pining thinking that fuck this person who's gone, my life is fucked. This was the best person ever. I've fucked it. No, you're the best person ever. You know, you, right wherever the camera is, you, right in there, on the other end of the screen, flicking away on their keyboard or on their phone or whatever. You are the best person ever. There is no one else in your life better than you. Okay, that's a bit like prideful, but you gotta have a little bit of a kind of. Every single person needs a little bit of a pride. Humbleness is incredibly important. Never think of yourself as better than other people, but you are the main character of your life. You know, you're the dude calling the shots. You're the A-list actor in the fucking blockbuster film that is you. You know, like you are like, you get me. You get me. There's nothing else that you can really even think about, I don't think, for this kind of stuff. And I'll end it here because this has gone kind of comically long. It's a process, and dealing with grief and becoming accepting of who you are alone is something that just, it's not, there's no trick to this, you know. There's no so that will just fix it. Go to fucking scrapbooking classes, bro. But unironically, do it. Do fucking whatever. There's no trick. There's no solution that's just is the solution. You got to be the one to do it. The solution is just doing it in a way. There's no, it's easy for me to say, harder to do, but like you just got to do it. There's nothing really else, I don't think. You just got to realize that, you know, if you trip or if you fall down, you just got to get up. Like you're on the 6-hour hike and you're tired and your feet fucking hurt and your bag is heavy, your back hurts, and you've got like 2 hours left to get to the fucking campsite because your ex dragged you into the snowy mountains while it's snowing with no preparation, and they hate walking. You just gotta fucking go. There's no giving up. There's no giving up. You just gotta walk. You just gotta walk. You just gotta keep doing it. Because things do get easier and things do get better. And eventually when you do get past that fucked up fog going up the fucking incline, you know, the fog clears and there's a beautiful vista and the sun is shining through the sky and the clouds are parting for it and there's a beautiful blue sky. There's birds everywhere and just life is good. You know, that's there for everyone. That's there for all of us. And we're all gonna make it.